In this video, we are finally going to see Wreck-Gar and his home planet Junkion in the Energon universe and discover the army of the Skuxxoid. What's up everyone, James here, and we're back with Void Rivals, focusing on just the Skuxxoid in this video. If you didn't see my last video of Solila gaining Zertatrion's power, it's right here below the like button and will be at the end of this video. Let's have a bit of fun here and do a quick recap of the Skuxxoid's journey throughout the Void Rivals series, to give us a refresher and give someone new here a chance to catch up. If you don't want the refresher, feel free to use the timestamps below to skip this part of the video. So we first met the Skuxxoid and his ship, the Rockeroid, when he came across Darak and Solila's makeshift ship in deep space. He got into a fight with them, and as they were trying to escape his Rockeroid, they came across the Quintessons prosecutor who was being held captive. He promised to help them escape with his ship that was on the Rockeroid. So they freed him and made their way to his Quintesson cruiser. However, the Skuxxoid warned them that the Quintesson prosecutor would betray them, and that they were free to leave because they didn't have a bounty on them like the prosecutor. He made a deal with them, which was basically a trade, their makeshift ship for one of the cruisers he had in his possession. They took the deal and left the Quintesson prosecutor, which was pretty funny. After that, Skuxxoid went to Cybertron to try to sell the prosecutor to Shockwave, because both races hate each other, and it has to do with the Age of Wrath, which we learned all about in my Golian video. I have a link to that below as well. Shockwave was pissed that he brought him there, and he made it clear he had nothing to bargain with in the first place, because he was just trying to survive with the minimum Energon he had. He threatened Skuxxoid to leave, or he was going to take his ship. Despite him knowing Quintessons cannot be fully trusted, Skuxxoid next went to Quintessa to see if, based on his past dealings with them, if he could get some form of compensation for returning the prosecutor to them, even though he's the one who captured him in the first place. The Quintesson judge was like, no, how about we put you on trial instead? Which we all know means death. Luckily for the Skuxxoid, he got out of that by giving them Solila and Darak's makeshift ship. From there, he then went to a space station to meet up with his buddy Slizardo, who is the reason why he wanted Darak and Solila's makeshift ship in the first place, because it possessed a special alloy Slizardo had been searching for. The alloy their ship possessed, I'm pretty sure, still hasn't been revealed to us. Maybe it doesn't matter. Anyways, Slizardo was pissed he didn't have it. However, their planned meetup was kind of an ambush because Slizardo brought Hot Rod, who paid him to set it up. Hot Rod demanded Skuxxoid tell him everything he knew about the ship, so it would help him track down Springer. Skuxxoid told him everything, but that meeting was where we first saw a robot secretly following Skuxxoid. From there, he returned to his home, and that's where we learned he no longer had his family. When it comes to his family and the robot, we're going to learn all about that in this video. He then did a theft job for Bosch. We never learned what exactly is the item he stole for him. This finally leads us to where we last left off with him, which was him coming across Pythona and the cobra-la Royal Guard's Leviathan ship. He got into a fight with them and was surprisingly taking them all on and holding his own against them pretty well, until Gracula got the drop on him and sliced him in half. It seemed like that was the end of him, but in my Golian video where that occurred, I had theorized that he could regenerate himself, and I turned out to be right. This takes us to issue 19, where it opens with Wreck-Gar and the Junkions. We see, just like their G1 cartoon counterparts, they talk TV. They came across the Skuxxoid's Rockeroid and have come aboard and discovered the Skuxxoid's body. However, this is where it gets very interesting. Though I was right about the Skuxxoid having a regeneration ability, the process itself comes with a crazy twist that explains so much about him, which will lead to the Skuxxoid Army. As Wreck-Gar looks over his body, we see that both halves of the Skuxxoid's body are regenerating. A second Skuxxoid is being created. Wreck-Gar and his crew take both bodies with them, and they return home to the planet Junkion. I love that Wreck-Gar's lines are just littered with lines from television shows on Earth. It reminds me of Bay vs. Bumblebee talking through the radio. Now, who seems to have snuck on the Junkion ship is Acronis, who is still alive despite the Skuxxoid one-shotting him during their fight. He seemed dead, but we learned Skuxxoid only destroyed his armor, which is considered his second skin. Pythona left him for dead because without it, he was either going to die in the cold of space or by the sun's radiation. She did advise Vipra to kill him before they left, but she didn't. Later, we go to both Skuxxoids, the one we've known this entire time, who I'm going to call the scarred Skuxxoid from this point on, to help distinguish him from the regenerated, newly born Skuxxoid awakening. Their conversation is going to reveal mostly everything about the Skuxxoid. When the regenerated Skuxxoid awakens, shouting where his wife and kids are and where he is, the scarred Skuxxoid tells him to calm down, and the wife and kids he is referring to aren't his wife and kids. The regenerated Skuxxoid, confused, asks, "Are you me?" Scarred Skuxxoid answers, "No, if anything, you're me. But technically, neither of us is Skuxxoid. Not the original, at least." The regenerated Skuxxoid is in denial and claims he is the original. Scarred Skuxxoid laughs in his face, and regenerated Skuxxoid calls him a jerk for laughing at him. Scarred Skuxxoid says, "Trust me, we're all jerks. It's kind of our thing. And I do mean our, as in all of us. There are at least 3 that I know of. I remember being in your position like it was yesterday." He goes on to explain that the wife and kids he has memories of are the original Skuxxoid's family. The original is the one who found out if he or any Skuxxoid after him loses a big enough piece of themselves, another Skuxxoid is born. The regenerated Skuxxoid responds that the memories of the family feel so real, and that he knows everything about them, that he even misses them terribly. Scarred Skuxxoid tells him that is the curse all Skuxxoids born after the original carry. His memories and personality within them are so strong that it is constantly overriding their true memories. He says, "It confuses us, makes us forget who we are for a bit. It's painful. It never goes away. But you get used to it. Kind of." Now, this makes everything we've experienced with Scarred Skuxxoid make so much sense. So when he went to his home and saw what he thought was his family wasn't there anymore and became saddened by that, was him remembering he wasn't the original, not that the family was no longer there. He became depressed after that for a while, until issue 14, what I thought was him going crazy or him having dementia, was the original Skuxxoid's memories overriding his true memories. That's why he went from his depressed state to snapping out of it and expressing needing to work to take care of his wife and kids. Both Skuxxoids end up being attacked by Acronis, who calls them abominations. Scarred Skuxxoid is like, "I thought I killed this guy." Acronis says, "You only succeeded in killing my armor, not me." Some of the Junkions approach him as he tries to kill the Skuxxoids. Acronis then turns his attention to them and attacks them, calling them mechanical filth that are filled with corruption and are an affront to what his people stand for. Remember, cobra-la only uses organic technology, and they hate everything mechanical because they view it as unnatural and an antithesis to nature and their way of life. What's funny is Scarred Skuxxoid is talking trash as he hides behind one of the Junkions, pointing out to Acronis that his people left him for dead. Who is he fighting for? The fight between Acronis and the Junkions is not really a fight, because of course, Acronis is no match for a Transformer. So the Junkion here lays him out and subdues him. Acronis ends up yielding. Scarred Skuxxoid gets a little pissy here, asking the Junkions why they're letting a lunatic like Acronis live. Wreck-Gar answers with his TV talk, saying, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself. He who is without sin cast the first stone. I am Wreck-Gar, leader of the Junkions. We are all junk here." To no surprise, Scarred Skuxxoid doesn't understand him, but Acronis, who's from Earth, does. He explains that he thinks Wreck-Gar is saying they're all equals here, and that he's giving him a second chance. When Scarred Skuxxoid learns his TV talk, he asks what that is. Acronis answers that it's a broadcast from Earth, and he theorizes that Earth signals must be reaching all the way out here. Skuxxoid responds that he's never going to Earth, which means at some point the Skuxxoid is going to Earth, I bet. Now, the robot that's been secretly following Scarred Skuxxoid is here on Junkion, because suddenly Wreck-Gar points to the sky and we see that robot is plummeting down with a big gun aimed at the Skuxxoids. He fires at them, blasting them back. This robot holds its own against Wreck-Gar and the Junkions, keeping them back. It dodges their attacks and then throws a stun grenade between the Skuxxoids, stunning Scar Skuxxoid with a burst of electroshock. Regenerated Skuxxoid asks the robot who he is and what he wants. The robot says answers will be revealed in time. Trust the order of things. It then stuns him too. As it flies away with both Skuxxoids, Wreck-Gar quotes the cliffhanger announcement from the 60s Adam West Batman series. He says, "Could this be the end of our dynamic duo? Answer tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel," which I found hilarious. Acronis is taking it literally and is like, there's no indication that we'll find out tomorrow, and calls the Junkions weird. The robot takes the Skuxxoids to deep space at a massive asteroid base. Scarred Skuxxoid demands to know where they are, and a voice answers, "Stand before me and rejoice. All your lives you have been adrift, searching the cosmos for purpose and meaning, and finding none. Leave despair behind. Step forward and shed the burden of solitude. Take your rightful place within the army of Skuxxoid Alpha." We see the original Skuxxoid in all of his glory, with an entire army of Skuxxoid behind him, which is insane. Dude literally has created a whole army of himself. Now, this takes us to the latest bit of the Skuxxoid's journey in issue 20. Alpha Skuxxoid orders the robot to take both Skuxxoids to processing. Besides the army of Skuxxoid, we see Alpha Skuxxoid has more of these highly capable robots. Both Skuxxoids get thrown into this pit of slime. They're then taken out of it and examined by the robots. The robot examining Scarred Skuxxoid is shocked to see that his scars haven't healed. Remember, that was a gift from Pythona's acid talons during their fight, which Scarred Skuxxoid mentions to the robot. The robot says to itself that Alpha won't like that. I bet you the reason why he won't like that is because Alpha Skuxxoid wants complete uniformity within his basically clone army. He wants to be the only Skuxxoid that looks different, to not only distinguish himself from them, but also show he is the original. It's his way of establishing dominance over them, which also could explain why he refers to himself as Alpha Skuxxoid and not Original Skuxxoid. Another thing I bet and theorize that will happen is a confrontation at some point between Alpha and Scarred Skuxxoid will occur, and Scarred Skuxxoid is going to get this army. Now, when the other robot examining Regenerated Skuxxoid points out he's recently born, calling him brand new, it is because of that he gets sent to priority processing. As Regenerated Skuxxoid is being dragged away, he pleads not to be separated from Scarred Skuxxoid. Scarred Skuxxoid tries to intervene, but the robot hits him with an electroshock that puts him out. Meanwhile, on Junkion, Acronis mentions to Wreck-Gar that his destroyed armor leaves him exposed. Wreck-Gar assures him that they'll help with that. Acronis deduces that the new armor that they'll make for him will be mechanical, and tells Wreck-Gar that him possessing such an armor would be sacrilege, and in a way would be him betraying his people. However, he stares off in the distance, pondering. I can only assume he's remembering that his people did leave him to die, and without protection from the elements, he soon will die. So he doesn't have a choice but to accept it if he wants to survive. Well, that's the end of the Skuxxoids, and I guess we can add Acronis and the Junkion story for now. I have to say this, Robert Kirkman is truly a creative genius. He took the Skuxxoid, a Transformers character who's been barely used ever since his appearance in the G1 cartoon, and he expanded his lore and developed him so much in this series. It's truly amazing. I love it. I also love how he maintained the heart of who the Junkions are in the G1 cartoon in the Energon universe, and just the fact that he included them in this series. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Comment below your thoughts on the Skuxxoid and the Junkion's appearance. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember every day to go beyond.